We feel that Oak Cliff should have a right to help straighten out the problems that were presented to us, and we feel that we have some ideas for desegregation plans that will help do this.
What was your reaction to the state denial today?
I think that the school board may have lost the battle and won the war. I think that the Fifth Circuit Court has got to look upon it as Judge Taylor having a strong position, and that they'll look back to Dallas for help from that.
My reaction to what went on, that's absolutely nothing. Nothing went on. We didn't talk about nothing constructive or nothing.
They agreed on some things, and some things they just can't get together and agree on. It's just a lot of waste of time in my part.
What did you feel about it? No comment. What did they agree on?
About board members that were detained from the board on September 5th, that meeting that they're going to have.
I feel you always accomplish something anytime you sit down and talk man to man with people, and I think I got the target area, that is the board members from the target area's viewpoint very nicely.
No comment.
No reaction at all? Anything constructive go on?
We did,
Are you going to get together again with the mayor?
Not that I know of. It wasn't mentioned that.
You don't think it was worth the time?
Not for me, because, I mean, it was just a lot of arguing.
It's nothing destructive. They're just still playing games.
Well, I'm very sorry they feel that way about it. No, I don't agree. No.
These were purely exploratory, and it would be inappropriate to comment at this point on what might or might not be encouraged.
But they seem to indicate they would need to reschedule existing lines?
No, we didn't get that far. We merely met to discuss the order of the court and then to decide what the next steps were.
Is there anything concrete you can say at this time?
Not one thing concrete that we can say. We do hope that within the next day or two we will have a definite decision made as to the kind of transportation that will be available for implementation of the court order.
What happens if you...
On Tuesday?
The question was whether schools will be open, and the answer is schools will open on Tuesday, September the 7th. That's the one definite statement that we can make. If I'm the only one here to open schools, they're going to open.
Jones Stadium, Lubbock, home of the Texas Tech Red Raiders, preparing on this summer morning to get in another of their workouts prior to the opening of the Southwest Conference, September 11th. The Raiders were 8-3 last year. Their overall season with that last bowl game was 8-4. Jim Carlen, their head coach, is in his second year. I asked Coach Carlen to assess his offense and defense for Channel 8 Sports.
Well, we feel like the offense will be a little better than it was last year due to maturity, number one, and then the fact that our wide receivers are a little better, and we're going to throw the ball more. Not to say we're going to be a throwing team, but we're going to try to compensate a little bit, which we didn't last year with the throwing game. And so I feel like our offense will be a little improved over last year.
Well, I'd like to catch a few more passes than I caught last season. Coach Carlen promises we're going to try and balance the offense just a little bit more by throwing the ball some, and I hope this way it'll improve my personal catches.
Do you have any personal opponents whom you regard as friends off the field that you're going to be meeting this year that you'd like to beat more than anybody else?
Well, there's two teams we haven't ever beat since I've been up here playing. We hadn't beat Texas and we hadn't beat Arkansas. Every other team we've either beat when I was a sophomore or junior, and I'd like to at least finish out the season by beating at least each team that I've played in the Southwest Conference once while I've been here.
Did you get any breaks last year as a club in amassing such a good record under Coach Carlen's first season?
Well, I don't know whether it was the breaks or whether it was just we deserved them or what. Most of our games were pretty close. I suppose you could say we had some breaks, but everyone does.
How do you feel Napper will do in his senior year?
Napper should have a great year this year. He's definitely got everything it takes.
And your defense?
I think our defense will be less than last year due to the fact we don't have any front four anymore. We lost all of our front defensive linemen, and the ones that we replaced them with are willing, but there's just not a lot of talent right there. And so we're going to hurt a little bit on the defensive line of scrimmage.
Do you believe in the theory that if you lose some early games, it hurts you in confidence throughout the rest of the year?
Well, I don't think any way you can decide on anything with kids today. I think if they don't come back, you haven't got much of a youngster. And we count on it. We count on our senior leadership carrying us, but we don't count on losing ball games until we lose one. And then when we lose one, we adjust.
How about these first 3 games? You say they have running attacks and your defensive front 4, so you'll be pitting your weakness against your opponent's strength.
That's right, and that's unfortunate for us. It'd be better if we were facing throwing teams, because we figure we can play a throwing team with our secondary and linebackers, and our pass rush might not be extremely good, but it's better than our running and defense. So we just have to play them. We played Tulane, New Mexico, and Texas, which is the hardest opener I've ever had as a head coach, especially 2 of them away from home.
In your second year, how do you assess your advancement as coach? Last year you told me, I believe Bear Bryant said it took 4 or 5 years to get your kind of a system. Are you ahead of schedule?
Well, we felt like the kids played extremely well last year, and we won some close ball games at Rice and Baylor and TCU and SMU. We didn't wipe anybody out last year, and so therefore we got some breaks. Now, if we can get those breaks this year, we should have a comparable year, we hope. If we don't, we'll just have to readjust and go after the next year. But I don't know how to set a schedule except for the man who's probably been at more different places than anybody else, and that's Coach Bryant. And we just need more players.
Do you have enough super athletes on your squad?
Not right now, we don't. We hope to have in 2 or 3 years, but we don't right now.
Coach Jim Carlen, Texas Tech. From Jones Stadium in Lubbock, this is Jerry Haynes for Channel 8 Sports.
Basically, people are pretty honest about parking meters. They deposit their coins, go away, do their business, and come back before the time's expired. But you'd be amazed at what some citizens will do to save a nickel. At last night's Fort Worth City Council budget hearing, Mayor Sharkey Stovall unveiled some of the meter receipts.
Slugs, washers, and play money. I don't know how I let that one get by me. There's a Canadian nickel. Now then, we have here a sack full of American money, which has been mutilated, which the counters won't take. But someone has gone to the trouble of taking pennies and beating them out to the size of a nickel so they'll work in the meter. Now there, Mr. Bateman, is money that you can
hide in the vault, and
now
we can send this back to the month.
Now you can send that back. Now one of the greatest things that happens, and I've even tabulated this for you.
I wondered what those things did for a while.
Tabulated this for you. There's 770 Canadian nickels and 65 Canadian pennies and 17 Canadian dimes. Now those are worth more than American money.
Yes, sir. And here's another Canadian
nickel. I even went to trouble of rolling this for you. I've got this all in rolls for you.
Well, I don't know.
Now then, here's the cute one. I've got about 3,000 Cinco Centavos. Everybody can have one of those because they ain't worth nothing. Now, I think one of the cutest things that some collector might like to have are tokens. One is good for parking meters in Orlando, Florida. There's some from the Children's Museum out here. There's some streetcar tokens in there, incidentally. And
for Dallas,
Fort Worth, and here. And there's some from the Children's Museum. Good for one free car wash at Conoco, but some collector might like to buy it. I want to get some bids on that. So there you are, Mr. Bateman.
Stovall says that the collection he displayed last night is a 4-year accumulation of junk. Now, every one of those soft drink ring tab pull devices necessitated an expensive city service call. But City Manager Roger Lyne says he can make up some of the loss by reclaiming the aluminum at a dime a pound. Jay Lewis, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
Well, of course, the scope of this trial is considerably broader than the scope of the committee's work, but I intend to observe all testimony relating to the public officials. This is primarily what the committee is interested in, that is, the alleged involvement of certain public officials in this case.
So you're here then just to observe and see what you can learn from this case that might apply to the committee's investigation?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Can you say whether you've learned anything interesting yet?
Several things.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
As has been pointed out specifically by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the public officials in Texas who have been mentioned prominently in this case are not parties to the suit on trial here at the federal building, but they are the object of several other investigations, such as the House Investigating Committee, of which Mr. McShane is the chief counsel. Also, the Travis County Grand Jury went back into session today, resuming its investigation of the alleged involvement by public officials in certain transactions related to the stock fraud case. Meantime, the federal grand jury in Houston also continues its investigation, which does include activities of state officials. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move at the Dallas Federal Building.